On this channel, we talk a ton about collecting. Heck, we have videos upon videos about adding cool things to our trading card game binders and decks and vaults or whatever it is we choose to call them. And yeah, sometimes these things are as expensive as massive serialized card collections, huge PSA Pokemon orders that are going out, and even thousands of dollars sent to Rudy's grading company to try out the PCG experience and see what that's going to be like. I have always been an advocate for collecting does not mean expensive. And I wanted to show you guys today that I always have, throughout my entire life, put my money where my mouth is here in this arena and show off maybe the silliest, I don't want to call it the dumbest, but maybe the silliest collection that will ever be recorded on YouTube. So join me in a journey today about some of the fun stuff that I collect personally to keep forever, that I enjoy, and sit back, relax, and let me know what you think in the comments section below. But without further ado, I want to dig into this, and I want to point out that I collect the things in here because they're meaningful to me. There's a story behind almost everything in this binder, and this binder starts with my version right now of the player rewards promos from the Magic player experience. So way back when I was playing Magic the Gathering, how it worked is you would play and give your DCI number, and then if you played enough, you'd actually get sent in the mail a bunch of promos. And this was the first iteration of like Magic cards that people were playing fairly commonly without text on them. And flipping back here, there are things as new and crazy, and I guess new is relative now, but Cryptic Command. And when the very first Cryptic Command dropped with no text, the community went bonkers. This card has, textbooks worth of text, and it was just an iconic time in Magic. It reminds me of playing, so I constantly look to add a bunch of these to my collection every chance I get. I'm trying to collect the entire series, and one of the coolest pieces in here, and I gotta go find it really quick, is probably the Damnations, and that's because these Damnations that I've collected, 3 of them are still in the sealed packaging that they came in. So to have these cards in my collection just reminds me of playing Magic as a child, a younger man, seeing these things come out. And most of the cards in this collection, the majority of these are $1, $2, under $5. And your big, your foils, you got these big foils and the early Psychotogs, which are, well, not expected for nothing. But those cards are meaningful to me. They're not expensive to collect. And gosh, I can't get enough of stuff like this. And while there's not a huge dollar amount to me, there's a lot of pull as to like what I was doing in Magic and why that's important to me. And that's a cool theme that you can use to build a collection. But it's not the only theme you can use here. Next in this binder, I have what I call my magical resurgence. And I don't mean that in the sense that like I had quit playing Magic and I came back in at like Zendikar. What I mean is I've always just had a soft spot for lands. And when Zendikar re-released and we got new Return to Zendikar, the Triome lands, the first land of all 3 land types that taps for all 3 colors, came out in these crazy arts. I was just blown away, and it reignited my love for like, I used to collect all the shock lands and stuff like that. So to collect these lands and see these full art treatments in an era of Magic where full arts were not the norm yet. We were turning that corner. They were becoming the norm, but they weren't quite the norm yet. It blew me away, and I was like, I have to fill every one of these into my binder. And I did it over the course of a year, $10 here, $15 here, $20 there. And I gotta tell you, it was one of the happiest things I did. When I slid the last one in here, I was just like, oh, it's complete. And it was so fun. I had to do the exact same thing with the pathways. I still look at cards like this as an old school Magic guy, as the versatility behind these lands. Listen, I know they're not basic lands. I know they're not fetchable. The fact that it solves a problem at a given moment between these 2 sets. Again, we're sitting here in Zendikar, and I think it's Kaldheim. I was just blown away by how cool these lands were, the art on the lands. I think my favorite might be the River Glide pathway. I had to build up this collection. And to, lean into the motif that, like, you don't have to have a massive bank account to do this. I think the most expensive one of these lands at the time I bought it was probably $4 or $5. I don't think these are very expensive cards. I pull them out all the time to play them in decks. I'll be bringing them. I'm building, you know, a deck, I think, for every format that I can for MagicCon Chicago. This binder will have holes in it. But the love for lands, you know, it's just a way to build a collection, and you can dig into some really cool stuff too. Here we see a page of the new Zendikar, the Expeditions, and actually this kicked off for, I was lucky enough to pull an original Rugged Prairie Expedition. I pulled this card way back when. I opened a booster pack, couldn't believe this card was in it, and my mind was blown. And then when the Expeditions came back out and I saw you could get a bunch of them for, you know, $5, $6, just, you know, not super powerful ones. A couple of these are a little bit more expensive, but at the bottom, an iconic card from playing in Magic, Celestial Colonnade. I had to get my hands on these. And it's just, every once in a while I flip through here and remind myself, like, you know, lands being my thing and whatever your thing is, there's a way to, like, collect these cards and really embrace and enjoy what you're doing. All the way back to, I was running a game store with my buddy and running events and stuff, and we had a bunch of copies of Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. I have these all the way back from 2009. Remember these stamps. There's more of these in this binder here in a second. But stuff like this, nostalgic memories and things that you like, you know, iconic Magic the Gathering pieces like lands, are a way that you can choose to start a collection. And it's even still a little couple puppy lands up here. Now we enter a more fun and even more ridiculous portion of the binder. And I'm going to warn you right now, you're officially being warned. The binder gets ridiculous at this point. There is some silliness going on here. The Lotus Bloom Buy a Box promo in the old foil artifact. There's something about the old border artifacts, the coloring, the foiling, Lotus Bloom was part of Stanislav Sivka's Second Breakfast Eggs Modern deck. That was just something, it was a deck that I still go back and I watch. I think it was Pro Tour, Return to Ravnica, and I saw these out, I was like, oh, I have to have this card. So I picked up a bunch of them, and the same thing was something like Dig Through Time. I was rebuilding a Pioneer deck. I saw these, I think, were 25 cents on TCG Player, and I might have bought 25 of them. So I put a couple of them here in the binder, things like that. Here we go. More player reward promos, and all the way up. The bird tokens are actually part of that player reward promo series that I have to finish out. But these are like, I think these are like $20 a piece per token. So on a very special occasion, I buy myself a bird token. But after that, I get down to things that are, you know, some of my favorite cards. We see Ice and Manipulator in the top right corner. Electrolyze here is maybe my favorite Magic the Gathering card of all time. So to have a unique version of this card, a reward promo, a not textless but kind of full art promo, was just something that I had to have in my collection. And it gets sillier because now we see the normal copy, not foil or not promo, the normal foil copy of Ignite Memories, in memory of the time that during the Pro Tour, Gabriel Nassif, I believe it was, dodged Ignite Memories, stormed off like 5 times. He had a less than 1% chance or whatever to pull it off, won the game. Ignite Memories missed on repeat. It was just a cool, iconic moment in Magic the Gathering, and I saw it. I was at a game store. I was probably min-max. I was like, hey, I gotta trade for that. I gotta pick that up, and added that to the binder. And then even further back into my childhood, we got a couple signed cards here. Big shout out to Eric in my local scene coming up. He built a Star Wars deck. This is before Commander. Commander wasn't a thing. And he built a Star Wars deck, and he made Magic the Gathering characters, or Star Wars characters represented by Magic the Gathering creatures in the deck. And it was a singleton deck. There was one of everything. It was 5 color. It was just, this is the last piece I have from that deck way back then. It'll always be a core memory for me of that deck. And I had to have it and have it in this binder. And stuff like this is why I say I don't believe this card's expensive. I think you can go on eBay. I actually went on eBay. I was searching through eBay one night, and I think I got these for $1 or $2 a piece, just because they were cool and signed, maybe a couple bucks here and there. And I just think they were neat. And I'm not looking at the value, but I love opening my binder and looking at them. And it gets even sillier because now we're in the point where I will go to the game store, and I'm sure we all do this. In fact, I almost know each and every one of you do this. We go to the game store and we go, hey, I wonder if there's anything cool in that value bin, in that bulk bin, if you will. And I will always look through that bulk bin for any promo that I can. Play a reward promo, buy a box promo. If it's in the bulk bin and it's a promo, I'm buying it. And because of that, I have pages like this in this binder that I have just filled out with. I walked out with 10 cards from the bulk bin that were all promos, and I put some of my favorites in this binder. You see Char in the top right there. Char is something that I always wanted to build a Jeskai Burn deck when Char had dropped. I love the card, but focusing back here is something I am super proud of that will never have any value. And these are pre-release promos in the original packaging. So I would get a pre-release promo. I'd go to a pre-release. I'd get the card from the pre-release when they came in these packaging, and I wouldn't open it. I wouldn't open the card from the packaging because like, no, I want to keep it sealed. This was before I was a sealed product collector. I wasn't doing any of that. I just kept it sealed because to me, it was just cool, and I wanted it because it was cool, and for that reason, I have all of these like randomly in bags and in this binder. And every time I see this page, I think all of the pre-releases I went to that I chose to, keep the card sealed, and it's not all the pre-releases I went to, but just like when I did choose to keep the card sealed, it's just so much fun for me. So more of the, kind of fishing through the bulk bin. And this is where we get into the silliness that if you've been a long-time subscriber to the channel, you'll know of it. Hey, if you're not a long-time subscriber to the channel and you're still here in this video, hit the subscribe button because it helps a small channel like me more than you could possibly imagine. And we've got a ton planned for, the end of the year and the new year coming up whenever this video is released. After this video is going to be released to the end of the year, after everything has already gone out to the various grading companies, whatever it is. But we have the Gilded foil charms, and my loyal viewers will know that I am a fan of the Gilded foil charms. The joke is that at any given moment, there are stacks in this office of hundreds of Gilded foil charms. I know you said you don't have to spend a ton of money collecting. These were 25 cents a piece when I bought them, and I didn't buy them to buy them out. I didn't try to, there's no market manipulation. I am too small of a fish and too massive of a pond, but I just love these cards. If I play a commander deck, if I rarely build and play a commander deck and I can put a charm in it, it's locked. It's one of the cards going in the list. I am never going to change that. That stack just fell over, so I have to pick that up off the ground now. Great. Way to go, stack. Way to go. And because of that, I tried to put a play set of each of the charms here in this binder just to show off, because it's something I will always have a special spot in my heart for. I love these cards. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're underrated in how good they look, and I collect silly stuff like that. Here we got every once in a while I scour TCG Player, and I try to memorialize what I did by the order, and I buy play sets, and all of these cards on TCG Player, I couldn't believe in the promo version, the crazy arts that we're dealing with, things like this Archmage's Charm, how cheap these cards were, right? They just seemed underpriced to me. The art here with Teferi in the background, like, it's immaculate. It's incredible. I couldn't turn down the possibility, and it goes everywhere from, playable things. You got Cultivate, you got Gilded Goose, you got Fateful Absence, which, by the way, worst promo ever. I'm pretty sure this Fateful Absence art is the exact same as the regular Fateful Absence art. Like, what are we doing? Wizards of the Coast. All the way down to things, Bolas's Citadel Goblin Guide, and even the Demon that we can see up in the very top here of Catastrophes. That's digital casted sack a creature, 4-mana, 6/6 flying trample. What kind of rate is that? Drawn in the Lock, Commander Sphere. All of these things I've just been on TCG Player and thought, like, wow, these promos seem really cheap. It's really cool that they are promos. Some of the promos, again, I don't like that they are just the same art. I don't understand it, but this is where I think the collection buying, if you stuck around to the end of this video, reaches a maximum silliness, a maximum stupidity, if you will, because I had just started a new collection. The reason I did this is earlier this year, I bought what I am considering the Magic the Gathering Storytime series, where I went back and I bought a Tidal Surge, Ogre Taskmaster, Wild Griffin, and Tremor. And the reason I bought these cards is the flavor text on them tells a story of 4 little goblins trapped by the sea. One teased a serpent, and then there were 3, all the way down to 2 little goblins on the griffin and 1 shaking the ground on the tremor. This idea of storytelling through the flavor text is something, it happens infrequently in Magic, and it feels like a very old school Magic the Gathering thing to do. And I'm actually even on my Rudy, they're not in here yet, testing PSA or PCG. I'm sending in a playset, 2 playsets of these to get graded as well, trying to get sequential 10s just to have in my collection. For again, it's testing it for the video, but stuff like that is just fun for me. I love opening this binder and be like, oh, that's really cool. And that carries on to, I mean, the Hymn to Taroks, every single version of Hymn to Tarok from the set. That's just it was a card that came out. It was the very first alt art. It was Magic the Gathering's first alt art. Same card, same set, multiple different versions. All of these cards extremely cheap. All of them printed in tons, never be worth anything. But man, oh man, stuff like this just gets me going. And because of that, the last page, it's just cards that I think just look beautiful. I added these throughout the years. You guys have known, I've talked about them on my channel. You know, Birds of Paradise, the Negates, the Ops. They're not my favorite Ops. I have original foil Ops, but stuff like this cheapo collection drive me to continue making videos that you can collect Magic the Gathering without having to be like, hey, how many serialized cards can I buy? How many dual lands can I buy? There are different ways to collect Magic the Gathering, and that is just one of the silly binders I have around the office showing you it's important that you embrace collecting any way that you see fit. Collect cards that tell your own story. Collect things that are meaningful to you. Don't always focus on value. Don't always focus on rarity. Don't always focus on money. Collect things that when you open them up, put them on your shelf, bring them to MagicCon and show them off, whatever it might be, you truly do enjoy them. I hope you guys had some fun. I hope you've enjoyed the channel. If you've stuck around this long, I really hope you've clicked the subscribe button. Click the like button down below too to let me know what you thought of this video. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you want to support the channel further, Cardboard Finance, all the data analytics and tracking that we do, make sure you consider joining the channel membership. It's $5 a month and it supports everything we do around here, so I don't have to pay all of the server bills or the website out of my own pocket. I don't know why I fumbled on pocket. Thank you so much for hanging out. Again, until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh. I'll put another video down here. I'm not going to let YouTube do it this time. I'm going to pick the video that I think if you watch this video, you will enjoy. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks again. Bye-bye.